And here we are.
What's up, everyone?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome.
Hello. Very excited about this one.
I'm
Very,
super
very
excited about this one.
excited.
Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, and that means once again, Jonatan and I are going to see what the crypto markets are doing, going to express our opinion specifically about Bitcoin today. I think you said prior to this live stream that you have some things to say about Bitcoin. Right.
Well, I think not really things that I want to say. It's just that I really, I really enjoy coming on these live stream and just talk with you about Bitcoin, about crypto, and just do it as it's a conversation between two traders, and then people get to tune in and listen to the way we're thinking and what we're doing here in the markets. I think that's the best types of live stream, in my opinion, where you have two traders just sharing their ideas on the market.
Absolutely. And hi, Steve A. Hello from too sunny and too hot Spain. Yeah, I heard you guys are like suffering under an enormous heat wave. Heard somewhere like
hot over there.
plus 40 degrees, which I mean that must be crazy. I'm melting here already on every day where we approach 30 degrees in Berlin.
Yeah, I live in Sweden, so here it's we get nice summers, like a good summer. A really hot day on summer is like 30 degrees, and that's really, really hot. Otherwise, we'll get like 25 somewhere, like around 25, and I really like that. So like for me, that's perfect.
24, 25 degrees, that's optimal, really. Yeah.
And then in the winter, we always talk
like
about
Sweden, the summers are probably like 1 week, no?
This summer it's been like we have, I think it's like 3 months of summer, but like this summer it's been like total 1 month of good weather, maybe even just a couple of weeks. So it's been quite bad. But the good thing is that when summer is over, the real trading begins, right?
True.
So I tend to think better when it's cold. Like hot weather
I think
makes me
that's natural.
messy.
Yeah, that's natural. Like when I'm like busy sweating, I don't have any time to think, because I like to go out and walk. If I like to think through new concepts, through like my trading plan, through also, of course, what I want to talk about on live streams, on videos, and so on and so forth. And because I think better when I'm walking, actually, and when it's like the sun blasting down, it always feels like my head is getting fried, or my brain is getting fried. Man. All right, guys. So it doesn't really matter from where you tuned in. We are streaming, of course, live to YouTube. We are streaming live to Twitter here at the moment. Welcome. If you have any questions, please leave us a comment. That's much appreciated. Also, leave us a like. Subscribe to the channel. We're doing this here every Friday. We're going to try to scalp some money out of the markets. And talking about money, we are, of course, not only talking about Bitcoin today, we are also talking about altcoins. And one thing actually two things, maybe, if you allow me to start today, I would like to talk about is, first of all, those of you who were last week on our live stream, I opened a live order here on PopCat US dollar. And because I thought it's going to break out over $1, which it didn't, it kind of was reflected, I think, 2 times. It bounced off $1, but the position itself was actually very good. So that's this one here. We entered it at 0.7861, and I got stopped out at 0.8888. So we made with a 1,000 trade size, $1,000 trade size, where 130.4 US, and that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's like a return of 13% on a $1,000 trade. So pretty awesome trade.
Yeah.
You can see that I also traded a little bit more throughout the days here. This morning was not so super successful. But anyway, the second thing I want to talk about today is I'm actually working on a new scalping system, or I have to say I have been working on it for quite some while now, since the beginning of the year. And finally, it all got together. So my vision was kind of here to create an indicator. It's kind of a meta indicator. I call this one Market Dynamic Index, or MDI short, that kind of combines signals from other indicators and sentiment data into really simple buy or sell signals. So everything that I would normally do by looking at the charts, by looking at different indicators, by looking at support and resistance is here combined in one indicator. And yeah, beginning of this week, I finally put it live into production, so to say, and still some work to do down the line to optimize it. But as you can see here from this 1 minute PopCat US dollar chart, it looks pretty promising already. So the signals itself, they look very, very good. My plan is now going forward to use this account here of Weex to trade this indicator, and by the time hopefully then optimize it. And once we see that it's working, of course we're going to think of something nice how we can give you guys access to this. But at the moment, this is really something I've been working really hundreds of hours on, and I'm of course very, very happy that finally everything is coming together in a nice form. And by the first glance, it really seems to be also something that can help us, especially on the lower time frames. So I'm talking here about 1 minute, 5 minute, 50-minute charts to help us to find nice entries into multiple assets. So there's another version which I used this morning. This is really like if you want to catch like very, very short scalping trades, so in and out within a minute or 5 minutes. I've attached it here also to Bitcoin on the 50-minute chart. Looks really pretty nice up to now. Now, it's not perfect, of course. Nothing in life is. So you're not going to get like 100% success rate from any indicator. It always depends also on your risk management. Where do you place your stop loss? Where do you place your take profit, and so on and so forth. But yeah, going forward, highly you really should subscribe here and return every Friday to see going forward how this whole thing is developing. One more thing, or two more things actually. Also make sure to check out Jonatan's YouTube channel and Twitter. You'll find links in the description of this video to him, to his channels, and really highly recommended content he does there. He is a trader. He looks at the charts all day, and there's a lot you guys can learn from him for sure. As also a very nice trading system called the RZL or RLZ.
The RLZ method. So I haven't uploaded a lot on the content lately, but I'm working on new content to upload. As you guys know, I'm also working with the Fibers. And other YouTube channels. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, and I feel like these live streams that we're doing here once every live stream is like it's the only time when I can like go live with someone and it's just be myself and relax,
All right.
just, take it easy and just look at the markets and kind of go with the flow here. It's really good.
Very nice. Guys, also make sure to check out the exchange we are using, Weex here. You will find also links in the description, No-KYC exchange. I'm using this exchange specifically for scalping the markets because the trade execution is very good. Very low fees, 0.02 for maker, 0.06 for taker fees. They have every week also crypto pairs that you can trade without fees. So that's especially nice, of course, if you want short-term trading on the markets, because the more you click on buy and sell, the more fees you will have to pay. And if that, is not the case, that's more money left in your pocket. I think they have a 20% deposit campaign at the moment as well. So that's something nice. Be sure to check them out. Yeah, do you want to maybe tell us a little bit on your views about where we currently are for Bitcoin? It's been quite a journey again the last days, I think. Yeah.
If I can share my screen here, I haven't done that yet, so let's see if I can
go for it.
Well, I think we have this chart right here, and as you can see, I've added that beautiful logarithmic regression chart that you've uploaded to TradingView. So thank you a lot for getting that up.
Welcome. By the way, you'll find a link to that also in the description of the video. Totally free to use, open source. I coded it. You can see the source code, everything. Feel free to knock yourself out and use it. It's really like Jonatan says, very, very great to kind of get an overview. Where are we at the moment in terms of market trends for Bitcoin? really my go-to chart here. So the only thing maybe I'm asking for, give me a like and a boost if you want to use it on TradingView. Sorry.
So one thing that I'm watching here, like as technical traders, we're obviously, like for me at least, I think that's the same for most of you. We're interested in the visuals, like what are we seeing on the chart here? And what I'm seeing is that every green vertical line here is the halving for Bitcoin, and what I've seen is it seems like if you're looking at the overall trend, this is on the weekly. It doesn't really matter what time frame we're looking at. This is Bitcoin basically, and what I've seen is that the halving happens in the middle of the major uptrends.
Yeah,
and I view all of this as an uptrend. You know, like you could say that, well, this is a bull market and this is a bear market. Well, yes, depending on what type of technical analysis you're doing and how we're viewing that, then yes, this could be a bear market and a bull market. But I'm viewing it as like on the bigger picture with this channel in mind. I view this as, you know, one uptrend or one cycle, and then the next cycle and the next cycle. And what I see is that the halving happens in the middle of these cycles. Now, of course, the macro for Bitcoin has changed dramatically since just a couple of years ago, with Ethereum ETFs being introduced and Bitcoin spot ETFs being introduced, which is a huge thing because now the big players, we did see the big players entering, around COVID, where you had institutions like BlackRock talking about Bitcoin, and like you had, everyone talked about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is now a part of, if you look at Bloomberg, the Bitcoin is part of the risk analysis. They talk about, the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. So it's a big thing. But now with the ETFs and everything, the market is maturing. And with that, we're probably going to see a less volatility. And that's exactly what this regression chart is showing us. It's showing us that we're going to get less and less volatility, and we're going to get a maturing market. And with this in mind, then I'm definitely long-term bullish on Bitcoin. So with that in mind, I want to make sure that when I'm looking for a trade, because again, this analysis here is not about trading Bitcoin, it's about investing in Bitcoin. But if you have a long-term bullish view on an asset that you're investing in, and you're also going to trade that asset, well, it makes sense to be trading this to the upside. So when trading Bitcoin, I think the Bitcoin is an asset where if you only long Bitcoin, you're ahead of a lot of other traders out there. So we can go to the Bitcoin chart here. We can go to BTC USD. I think Bitcoin is Bitstamp is my standard chart. What we have here on the daily, and honestly, the fact that I wish I saw this at the close of the daily candle, because this is such a good confirmation of a long. Okay, so I have a lot of levels on here, right? But let's see if we can remove some of them. So first, if you guys remember, we were in a live stream where we had this dump right here, and we talked about like this is where you should be buying, and obviously, I'm gonna have to take credit for that for the both of us. We made a good call right there, very good call.
You did. Absolutely, yeah.
But an obvious call as well. I think it's just hit high time frame support. That's what you do when Bitcoin hits high time frame support and overall uptrend. That's what I'm saying. You want to be buying when Bitcoin hits high time frame support. And now what happened is we reclaimed this very important area. So if you look at the weekly, when this level was broken, that's really when the whole move started like really accelerating. You can see that there's no wick on that candle, that weekly candle right there. That's a strong move to the downside. What have happened now is we've reclaimed this level, which is also the middle of the range, and we printed a bullish pin bar on the daily. So this to me, this is actually a really good example of the way I'm trading, because now what we have is we have a test of a daily level. Okay, so what I do is I always look at my at the higher time frames. I look at the daily and the weekly, and I mark out levels based on the daily and the weekly. And then when price comes into that level, it's in the area that I call the area of interest, which is obvious. The area of interest is in a high time frame level. Comes down, creates a nice wick, forms a daily bullish pin bar candle. And then what I want to do is I want to go into the 4 hour. And what we see here on the 4 hour is, this is a really, really nice candle right there. Like if I saw this on time, I would have just gone long here with stops below here. And I would just look at I would actually TP at that level that we just tested, just for a move up here. Because the way I'm trading is, I know that if you're looking at a higher time frame market, you're looking at the daily, and the daily is bullish, and the weekly is bullish, and price is hitting support. Now, everyone that knows anything about technical analysis would say that, it's probably going to give you a bullish reaction. We don't know how big that reaction is going to be, but it's most likely going to give you a reaction. Like, it might just give you a very small reaction and then move down, but it's going to give you a reaction. And that's what I'm trading. I'm trading that initial first reaction, because I don't know how far up that bounce is going to go, but I know with almost absolute certainty that there's going to be a reaction. Now, I can say with absolute certainty, because the chances that price will react to a high time frame level is very, very high. I would say above 90%. Now, trading that is something completely different, because it might only move 1 pip, but there's going to be a reaction. It's not very often that you see no reaction at all. I mean, if you go into the 1 minute here, and you look at when price actually hits this level, if you think that the 1 minute is going to be one candle like this, straight through that level, you don't know a lot about technical analysis. That almost never happens. There's going to be some type of reaction before moving lower. So when looking at the 1 minute right here, that's a reaction. Again, and that's what I'm talking about. That is a reaction. And when I see that there's a reaction and it's also visible on the 4 hour time frame, that's when I take the trade. Now, in this case, you'll see that price actually did break this level to the downside, but it didn't break the level before giving us an initial reaction. As you can see here on the 1 minute, this is the initial reaction. Let's go to the 5 minute, and you're probably going to see that it starts breaking. That's the break lower, okay? So now you have that candle that completely, breaks through the level. But that candle almost never comes before a reaction. So if I see this, and of course this is on the 5 minute, but if I see this on the 4 hour, this is going to be my trade. The trade is going to be on that 4 hour bullish engulfing candle below the wick, and I'm just looking for a small move, maybe all just up to this level before it starts moving down again. So I'm trying to trade like a casino operates. So a casino, when playing blackjack or a roulette table or whatever, the casino knows that the next game, nobody knows who's going to be the winner of the next game. But the casino knows that over the course of 100 games, they have the edge. The game is designed to give the casino an edge over the gambler. And this system right here is designed to give me a small edge, and that edge is very small, but that small edge will become huge over a big sample size of trades.
I think also that's like something a lot of new traders don't understand. They are very focused on excuse me, on what happened with my last 3, 5, or 10 trades, instead of seeing really the big picture. How is your system performing over 500, over 1,000 trades? Because this is when you're going to start this, what you call the edge that you have over market. This is when you'll notice it. No system is perfect. You'll always have like 10, maybe 20 trades, in a row sometimes that just go against you. But over time, these periods of drawdown are not going to mean a lot in the grand scheme of things. By the way, very quickly here, I just entered a long trade here on PopCat. based on my new scalping system, based on this here. So I got a buy signal here. This is really the wild setting. And take profit is 60 cents higher. So let's see how this trade goes. Might be that I need to add to the position because, as you can see, those signals can tend to come here a little bit in clusters from the system still, because I've set it here to a way to identify with less filters to kind of confirm the signals, but to give me more signals. So let's see how this one goes. Sorry, were you done, or was there something you wanted to say still?
No, I think I'm done. But I got this idea. You know, I'm trading around with a low risk to reward ratio, and I might say that the win rate is quite high. For the month I'm at 68% win rate, and nice. I'm hoping that it's going to be a bit higher. So around 70% win rate, but still not very profitable. So it's very slow. It's a very slow way of trading when it comes to the profits, because you're taking many small winners, but the losers are always going to be bigger than the winners. So it's a complete change in mindset. Now, because of this, I've tested this. What I'm going to do this weekend is I'm going to be testing the RLZ method with this way of trading as well. So if you look at the the indicator that I have here, basically, I mean, this could be a good example here where you have a long signal, and I would then you get that long signal, and I would then just enter here with stops below the Weex, and then just look for a 0.5 R. And this is not something that I've tested actually, this system with a negative risk to reward, because when I traded this actively, I didn't really look at a negative risk to reward as a viable option, because I always looked at exiting up here, and if I waited for that, then this could perhaps have been a losing trade. So it's always worth to test every idea that you have, because you never know. Like I was stuck in the mindset of you have to have a high risk to reward, like you cannot trade with a negative risk to reward. And now all of a sudden, when I'm testing it, the results are very good. So test everything.
Yeah, but I think the reason why most traders who have been trading for a while, who are successful, say, hey, you should only trade with a positive risk-reward ratio. A lot of them say, like me included, try something like 1.5 to 1 or 2 to 1, because of course puts you in a situation where you only have to be correct with your trades well below 50% of the time. However, on the flip side, and this is where I very much agree with you, having a trading system or taking trades with a lower risk reward than 1-to-1 can help you actually on a psychological level, because you tend to have, of course, more trades. You tend to also have more winners, because, of course, the likelihood of the price reaching half R is higher than 1 R or even 2 or 3 Rs. So, and if you have then, like, let's say, like 3, 4, 5 winners in a row, that can help you on a psychological level enormously. I agree with you, but you have to be careful. You shouldn't, like, not you specifically, Jonatan. I of course mean if you guys are watching this and you feel like, oh, I'm at the beginning of my trading journey, I have a rough idea what I want to do. Be careful not to overdo it too much. So you don't want something like I'm going to take a profit of $100 for every $1,000 I risk. That is, of course, too much. Then you need like a hit rate of like 95 or 98% almost, success rate, I mean, in order to be profitable. And well, I don't have yet encountered a trading system that has such a high profit rate. One thing that I maybe would like to add here for Bitcoin still is, and I'm looking at this every week again as well. So next to the logarithmic regression are the bull market support bands for Bitcoin. So the red and yellow line you are seeing here are a simple and exponential moving weekly average. It's a daily chart here of Bitcoin, but a weekly moving average. Blue line, a simple moving average with a length of 8 weeks. And I said it before, like for those bull market correction, the way it normally goes is once price falls below this blue line, the 8 weeks moving average, it usually tends to test the bull market support bands. You see here we went under, we eventually ended up testing them, we went under here, then we were trading for a little while under here, and so on and so forth. Here and here we didn't quite reach that. It happened again here when we closed under it, and I said back then, I think once we hit the bull market support bands, that is pretty much a good time to buy again. This time, of course, we fell a little bit deeper than that. However, in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about a correction here that we saw of 25%, which is like totally normal for a bull market. And what is interesting now, in my opinion, is that what Jonatan was betting on, this sharp turnaround of Bitcoin going to the upside again after we touched here the $53,000 region. This is, in my opinion, now also confirmed, because look also what the market is doing in a bull market. In this bull market, every time it recaptures this 8 weeks simple moving average, the blue line here. That usually means that the trend is going to continue to the upside. Yeah, we saw that really every time here in this bull market, that once we closed again over this blue line, that the bull market resumed its power. And I think the last time, of course, that was the most spectacular. Yeah, we didn't even hit the bull market support band. That was here in January, went over it, and then boom, Bitcoin did what actually nobody was expecting, at least in this time frame. We went all the way into a new all-time high. Of course, we have there now at the moment this sideways range here, which can be a little bit troublesome. So I'm not expecting like immediately now that we see like a breakout to 90,000. It's possible, but I think we're a little bit early still. Why are we early here still? Yeah, we can have a look here again at the logarithmic regression chart. And if you kind of measure how long does it normally take Bitcoin from the halving until we go into the bull market frenzy mode. And the bull market frenzy mode is when we break out of this green channel. So that was around 300 days after the halving of 2016. That was around 180, 190 days after the halving of 2020. And if I forward now this minimum of, let's say, 190 days into the future from the halving in April, we land here somewhere end of October, maybe beginning of November, where we can earliest expect a breakout out of this green channel. Now, a breakout out of this green channel means prices well above 95 or 100,000 US dollars already. So that's still some way to go. However, I think we are still up for some choppy markets until then. It's still time. What do we have now? End of July. So we're talking August, September, October, maybe 3 months until things could potentially really start to heat up, you know, when the time then begins again that suddenly your grandma and your papa and your mama call you because they heard about this mysterious asset called Bitcoin that's performing so well. And how they could buy it, and where they can buy it, and if they should buy it. All this question, and everybody's going to have laser eyes again then for sure. But it's coming, I'm sure. I don't see any difference really to how the markets were during the prior cycles. Also, if you look here at the MVRV score, I know you like that one a lot, also Jonatan, to time the market, you can also see that it's kind of quite normal. I need to put this a little bit like this, that after the halving, you have kind of this, you know, where nothing really happens, this really sideways range until it really goes crazy again. For every bull market, that was the case. And, you know, we traders, we investors, we always look for patterns on the market. Like you said earlier, usually we are very visual people, which I agree with. Well, here's a pattern that repeats itself every 4 years. And I'm always thinking, like, am I like blindsided? Is there something I don't see? Because this is so obvious. Every time I show somebody this chart, or wait a minute, let me quickly load this on here. Give me a moment. Or
yeah, I mean, it's very obvious.
It is, now, isn't it? Or this one here, you know.
Yeah.
Like I showed like to a friend of mine who asked me about Bitcoin. I showed this one just a couple of days ago, and the first thing he said was like, well, wow, that is crazy. That means I should buy now. Yeah, exactly. That means you should buy now.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why not more people see these types of patterns, because it's really in your face a little bit. And I'm sure if this would be something on the stock markets or on Forex, a pattern like this, people would like go crazy about things like this.
I think also it's about risk management. People don't understand that they like what I'm seeing that we could double the investment, but people don't want to double their investment. They want to like 10x their investment. So
that's like a very crypto
problem.
specific thing. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're boring me to death. You're showing me an asset that can only do like 200% in the next year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like Bitcoin is trading close to all-time highs. Okay, and we're talking about buying one of the so yeah. To be clear, Bitcoin is risky. But we're talking about buying a fairly risky assets at all-time high, and we're quite confident in that. And I'm also quite confident that we're going to get a 100% increase in price.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be buying. Which is like, and then people are like, but I don't want to I don't want to double my investment. I want to 10 times my investment or 100 times my investment. So I'm going to go into a meme coin or an altcoin with 100 times leverage and a tight stop loss. Well, yeah, then you're going to lose everything. But if you look at a chart like this and you're like, how much are you willing to risk? So let's say you invest 10K. Well, most people are not okay with losing 10K, okay? But they would be quite okay with gaining 10K because that's actually what you're doing. A 100% move to the upside means that you're gaining 10K. But what if you put in like stop loss, play, like what if you put your high time frame stop loss down here? You're not going to lose 10K, but obviously you're going to lose about 4K, which is still a lot of money for a lot of people. But then you just have to take whatever number that you're comfortable with, right? And look at the risk to reward. So now I can actually make almost 2.5 times my investment, and that investment is the risk. That's what you're risking, So I think people fail to realize the idea of the potential gains and the risk to reward, because if you invest, Bitcoin is not going to go to zero. I mean, it's not going to go. I mean, it's not going to go down here, So yeah, I don't know, man. It's people have I think new traders coming into this, they don't understand risk management, and I think that's one of the, because for us risk management is obvious. We it's like second nature, but for people who are new to this, they don't know what risk management is.
Absolutely. It's like, yeah, I agree. I mean, and I understand it actually also a little bit, I must say. And because when I first started trading very, 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 very long ago, 1998, so 26 years ago, I also was always looking kind of for the holy grail. There must be an indicator out there that's always right, that can like earn me money on autopilot. Well, there isn't. And even if there is, that still doesn't mean you're going to earn money, because maybe you are risking too much. You're leveraging like crazy. So a little swing into the opposite direction is already going to crash you out of a market. Happened to me, when I thought like, hey, so cool if I trade here with 100x, or back then you had some brokers with 1000 leverage. And that is crazy, And then suddenly it's like, well, position moved 0.1% against me. And that meant I have a margin call. So this is really more like casino then. And of course, I mean, it's for the reason, the brokers make it easy, It's good that it's easy to enter the market and start trading, to deposit your fund and start trading, but it's also dangerous because most apps nowadays, most trading apps are designed in a way that they kind of reward you if you trade a lot. You get like achievements that are unlocked then. You maybe get some tokens, some bonus, some rebates on fees.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's actually good to not trade so much. I'm not saying it's impossible to make money when you trade too much, but you shouldn't be doing it. One more thing I want to say here is like it's also about perspective, in my opinion. Yeah, if we look right now, where are we in terms of market cap and the price of Bitcoin? Well, we can see here, okay, we're at 67,000 US dollars. Bitcoin has a market cap of 1.3, what is that, trillion, US dollars. If we go like exactly 4 years back in time, we see we had a market cap of 182 million and a price of 9,900. Now, why am I showing you this? Because I remember very, very vividly 4 years ago having exactly the same kind of discussions with people about Bitcoin that told me, wow, it's like at a 180 to 200 billion US dollars of market cap. It's too high. It's almost at 10,000 US dollars. This is over, Dick. I mean, where is it supposed to go? Well, guess what? Within 4 years, we've 10x'd our market cap, over 10x'd actually. No, not quite. Sorry, not
quite. So insane when
like
you think about
7.5x, and the next 7.5x is going to put us somewhere in the regions of 10 trillion US dollars. That means the price is going to be somewhere around 500,000 US dollars. 10 trillion US dollars of market cap is going to mean that Bitcoin is going to flip gold. And I don't see why that cannot be happening now. And if I tell you now, you know what? If you buy for this price now, 4 years down the road, if you are strong enough to hold on to it, there's a good chance that the price of Bitcoin is going to be well over 300,000 US dollars, maybe even at 500,000 US dollars. Who knows? Then probably you would agree and say like, well, that's a good chance, 10xing my money maybe, or 5xing my money if you want to think conservatively within 5 years. I mean, every sane hedge fund manager in this world would absolutely go bonkers and build a position up in this, which actually is something that we are seeing. We are seeing the likes of BlackRock suddenly buying, not only starting an insanely successful Bitcoin spot ETF, but also buying shares of large quantities of shares of Bitcoin mining companies because they want to be there. They know, hey, this is the new market. Finally, there's a regulated vehicle that we can use to enter this market. So they are doing it. Who's on the sideline again? Well, the people who are not willing to, see the immense opportunity. And I'm not saying, that it's 100% always going to be upside. It's not. We are going to see upside frenzy probably again, and then we are going to enter a severe bear market, 100% sure again. So like in 2.5 years down the road, probably we are again going to see prices of like 50 or 60 or 70,000 US dollars. And then everybody will again be too scared to buy. It's the same. And I don't want to, I always feel like what is his name? The grandpa from The Simpsons that yells at the cloud, old man yelling at the cloud. But I know like 4 years down the road, we are going to have exactly the same discussions again. And at that moment, sadly 4 years ago, we were not streaming it, but I'm going to replay a clip of a discussion like the one we are having today about chances of Bitcoin. And before I switch back here, another thing really that if you are, because you said it, most people are looking for was 10x altcoins. If you compare like only in the top 50, which coins do you have there? And when you go back these 4 years and see, hey, what were the coins there in the top 10? Of course, you see Ethereum. Of course, you see TIFA. Of course, you see Ripple. But you also see something like Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin SV, I think that was the one from this lunatic guy, Craig, or what was the name that
Craig Wright, right?
Crypto.com coin. Chainlink, EOS, Monero, Tron, like a lot of coins that really nobody is talking about very much anymore. And this is the risk of investing in altcoins. You have a high likelihood of ending up with an altcoin that doesn't perform, that is not the second Solana, that is not the second Ripple. Ripple's also not doing much. That is not the second Cardano, for example. But instead is going to disappear into into being worthless. I had like this experience, sadly, when I first started investing with crypto with a coin called Electronium. And you know what? Let us
I remember that.
Electronium. Oh, wow. Look at this here. It's trading at 0.002. I don't have it anymore. I look at the chart.
Wow.
I eventually ended up flipping it I think 3 years ago for Bitcoin, luckily. But this is what you see very often, people kind of commit their lives and the money to those altcoins. And no matter if they are down by 99%, they are like, it's coming, it's going, it's eventually going to pump. Well, guess
look
what?
At the tweets to the right. It says ETN is looking strong today. What is strong about that?
And look, I mean, it's looking strong today. Look at the trading volume here. $5,700. Oh, $1 million, but that's like nothing. So I get it. Everybody wants to play.
And the tweet below that one says, "Warning: low liquidity." It's like, wow, okay, looking great,
very low liquidity. Yeah,
amazing.
So be aware of that. I get it. Altcoins are fun. I mean, you see me trading here in PopCat, but that's trading. It's not investment. By the way, our take profit was reached here from our little position, so that's a nice thing in the books again. And but it's fun, but kind of don't commit your life to an altcoin. It's probably in 9 out of 10 cases not going to end well. And guess what? The 10th case where it potentially could end well, meaning that you end up with a 10x, well, you're probably not going to hold onto that coin for 10x. You're going to sell it at 2 or 3x. And if you're doing that, well, you might as well invest in Bitcoin, right? Because this is what we're talking here. I don't know anybody. I only know stories about, I used to have Shiba Inu, I used to have Dogecoin, but I sold it when I doubled my backs, when I tripled my backs. And if I would have held onto it, I would be a millionaire or multimillionaire by now. Everybody has a story like this. And this is for me one of the reasons, to either buy an altcoin or forget about it, like we had in the beginning of the year, where I forgot that a year earlier I bought AI altcoins. I haven't looked how they developed. Probably I would cry as well because they went up further after I sold them then. But just looking at Bitcoin or for that matter of fact, Ethereum makes your life so much easier when we talk about longer term positioning. If we talk about trading, might be a different story. Are you actively trading altcoins as a swing trader as well?
No, I stopped trading altcoins long time ago. I feel like it's just I feel like I'm not trading a lot of altcoins because I am quite focused on actively trading forex and investing in Bitcoin. So I'm buying Bitcoin and Ethereum basically, but that's all. But I'm trading more. I'm actually more trading Bitcoin now than altcoins. So in the past. I traded altcoins and never Bitcoin, but now I only trade Bitcoin and not altcoins. That's because Bitcoin is available with funding firms like the Fivers, and also because now the way I'm trading with just looking at high time frame levels and looking at reactions at those levels, it's the Bitcoin is much easier to trade. When you have that perspective. In the past, when I had a very specific break and retest system, Bitcoin didn't really work that well with the break and retest system. But looking at high time frame levels, you can just add this level and you can see that there's always going to be a pretty decent reaction to these levels, and it's very easy to trade it using a system like this. So now that you can see right here that Bitcoin comes down and tests its daily level, all I want to do is I want to go down to the 4-hour, and I'm looking to enter when there's a good bullish reaction. I'm using a quite wide stop loss. So in this case, Bitcoin hits that daily level, and now I have a bullish engulfing candle. So either I'm entering at market or I'm entering on the retest of that level, and then I want to have the stop loss, below the level, and I'm looking for probably just a move up here, just a very, very small reaction up to that level, and there it goes up to that level. And when I'm only looking for very small moves, very very small reactions to a level, and then also only trying to trade it long, it's quite simple. I mean, you have here as well. It's well, it's not really a bullish engulfing candle, but when there's a reaction and there's a good reason for me to enter, I get in and try to just look for a very very small move. Like here, for example, is another one where it's not a bullish engulfing candle, but still it's a very clear bullish reaction to that level. Stops below the wick, and again, I'm just looking for a very very small move. This is below below 1 hour up to that level. But what happens here is it actually it hits that level, and then it starts moving lower. So yeah, I think for me it's just such a insanely simple way of trading. I want to show you, Dirk. I want to show you 2 of the most recent trades I took in the forex market, just to show you guys that this works in all markets, and it works for altcoins as well. The thing is, with altcoins, you tend to want to go a bit lower into the time frames because altcoins are much more volatile. So when you hit a daily level with altcoins and you have a bullish reaction, sometimes waiting for the 4 hours is actually too late.
I think the reason is, and also the reason this in the beginning didn't work so well in Bitcoin for you, is that Bitcoin now is a mature market. It's like comparable in terms of liquidity to the forex and to the stock markets. You need a lot of liquidity, a lot of trading volume in the market really to make technical analysis work. If you are trading, like the example right now at Electronium with like a volume of $1 million per day, no technical analysis is going to work because there's some trader coming, opening or closing a large position size, even just 50 or 100,000 leverage, and then the chart is going bonkers. It's not going to help.
Exactly. Let me just move this here, and I'm gonna show you this one. So this is exactly the same way as a trade Bitcoin, but it's just a very good example. So here you have ADJPY, and this could be Bitcoin, right? So this could be Bitcoin. So you have a very strong uptrend, and then I have, if you go to the weekly, like this is such a good level on the weekly, and then you have that candle coming down, a weekly wick. Go to the to the daily, and you see that on on this candle, this is where I started seeing the setup, and I'm looking at this, and this is a few hours, I believe, before the market is closing for the day, and I'm looking at this and like that's a strong reaction to a daily and weekly level. And when I go into the 4 hour, this is what I see. A 4 hour doji candle, indecisive candle right on that level with a big wick, and then a 4 hour candle with a good wick. And all I wanted to do is just get in, stops below the wicks, and then just up to this level right here, 0.6 R trade. Because again, there's going to be reaction at this level, but I don't know how big that reaction is going to be. And then on the next candle, hit that level. It's almost as if it's a scalp trade based on high time frame analysis. And the exact same thing happened just now before starting the live stream on GBP USD, where you have a high time frame level right here. Get a high time frame level. It's also a weekly level. If you add a weekly line right here, so it's a retest of a weekly level. It's the first retest of a weekly level and a daily level. And I go into the 4 hour, and I see right here on GBP USD, and I'm thinking, you know what, this move, it's probably gonna come up and test this level, and this is that was the trade right there up to that level. Again, a negative risk to reward, but again, I'm just looking for a very small move, a very small reaction to whatever level I'm looking at. And by doing this, I'm going to have a very high win rate. So this week, 80% over the month, about 70%. But I'm only looking for a very, very small move. And you can see that if I go through my journal and I test the theory of using a more a tighter stop loss, then I could have had my stop loss here. So this trade is now a 1 hour trade. So there's a lot of things here that can be done differently and make it more profitable. But what I've done here is I found out that the entry trigger is actually very, very good. It has a very high percentage of moving in the direction of the trade initially. And I think that's what you want to find. And then you want to look at how big is the initial move.
And this is what markets actually often do, no? And like they move into the direction, but just not as strong as you anticipate them to do, or as you need them to do in order to reach like 1.5 or 2 of R. Because like if you look at that chart here of cable, I mean, for long trade, higher time frame is obviously still in a downtrend, so you're kind of again betting with a long trade here against the broader trend, let me put it like this. So of course it makes also sense, to speculate on there is going to be a reaction, but it's probably not going to be a reaction where the market immediately goes back to like 129.25 or 129.50 or something like this. Yeah. So I really like that about that approach in your system, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think this is also one of the reasons why, if you're not going to be taking profits early, if you're not going to be exiting full trade early, then at least take partial profits. I think that's it's not easy, but I think taking profits, having a good system for taking profit, and understanding when you take profit is much more important than your actual entry, in my opinion, and also maybe your stop loss placement, because knowing when to exit the trade is so difficult, because you enter the trade and then there's just a lot of emotions. You're looking at price action, you're looking at prices go up and down, and you get affected by your emotions, and that will affect your profit taking strategy. It's very difficult to exit the trade with a clear mind. Very few people can do that, and that's why I think having a profit taking system that works is very important, and probably one of the most difficult things in trading. Because entering, like I do, everyone can do that. You pull up the daily chart, you see a level, and it's like, I want to buy here. Yeah, okay, and then you buy there. Very simple. And then you put the stop loss below the level. It's very simple. But how do you know where price is going to move? That's the real question.
You know what happened to me this morning? That was insane. I was trading PopCat, trying out my scalping system, and then the first 2 trades I entered were beautifully running into my direction, and then they turned around 1 cent before hitting my take profit. 1 cent. And it happened 2 times in a row. And wow. That's like where you're like, okay, it's like the gods of the markets want to prove you wrong. But things like this happen, and you kind of need to take it with a sense of humor, in my opinion, as well. Always makes for good stories also later on.
Yeah, that has happened quite a lot of times for me as well. And after, I think that's when I started, front running where I wanted to take profits. I always looked at the level where I want to take profit, and then I put the TP quite further down. Because if I think that's the perfect place to take profit, then everyone else thinks that's the right place as well.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was not like chosen by me. It's like based on the rules of a system that I'm trying. I'm like trying to scalp like 60 cents out of a market. And if the move stops at 59 cents, then it's a bit like, oh yeah, okay, what could I have done differently? I should have picked 55 cents instead of 60 cents as a take profit area. But well, then the market would have reversed at 54 cents probably. And but why am I telling this? Because very often when you are a beginner and you see something like this happening to you, you might think like, well, this is the reason why I don't use stop loss. This is the reason why I don't use take profit, because the market always reverses or hits my stop loss and then it continues into my direction again. Yeah, that happens. But like we initially said, if you record that, and you should do that for like 500 or 1,000 trades, you will see it happens far less often than you might think. It's your brain and your psyche playing tricks on you, sadly. I think we are slowly approaching the end of today's live stream. Jonatan, thank you again for doing this with me. It has been a great pleasure again talking with you about the markets. Always something I'm looking forward to now, I must say, like having a bit of sweet time, talking trader to trader. sharing ideas, sharing concepts. If you guys out there enjoyed it as well, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, check in again with us next week. If you look into the description of this video and you want to start trading as well, you'll find a link to our preferred exchange for scalping called Weex. Right now we have a 20% deposit bonus campaign running. For that, you need to use the link in the description of this video. You'll also find a link to my Telegram group, where I actually less frequently than I should update also on the markets, because I was so busy designing the new system the last days really, but I promise to get better on this. And yeah, last thing for me to say is see you all again next week for some more live trading and market analysis action. Take care, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Dirk. Always a pleasure. And see you guys.